Ladies and gentlemen, William Samoei Arap Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is laying an elaborate strategy to finish Fred Okengo Matiang'i ahead of 2027 presidential elections in the Republic of Kenya. According to reports which appeared today in the People's Daily, 14 criminal charges are waiting for Fred Matiang'i immediately will land back into the country and declare his interest for running for the presidency. In this video, I want us to analyze why William Ruto fears Fred Okengo Matiang'i. According to that newspaper report, Fred Matiang'i is supposed to be charged over Roraka land scandal. As a matter of fact, that is the only scandal which can be traced to Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and is running into billions of Kenyan shillings.
They made a decision on the Roraka land. In their three-judge bench decision in June last year, the court was clear at paragraph 176 that we therefore find, the court was clear at paragraph 176 that, and I quote, we therefore find that the compulsory acquisition of the land on which the two schools sit did not meet the threshold of public purpose and should not have been undertaken in the first place. One cannot purport to compulsorily acquire what is already public land. Taxpayers lost Kenya shillings 1.5 billion in the fraudulent acquisition of a part of the land RL number 7879/4, yet 1 year, 4 months and 25 days since the decision, the investigators at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, and the DPP have chosen to cheer on the suspects.
Through that, they'll be able to lock his accounts and will not be able to access funds for his campaigns. Matiang'i will also be charged with abuse of office. Remember, in 2019, through Executive Order Number 1, Uhuru Kenyatta made Fred Matiang'i kind of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. He was the supervisor of all cabinet secretaries in the Republic of Kenya, and he was also holding that critical docket of interior. So a lot of things happened during that time, and he will be charged with abuse of office. Then there is also the issue of disobeying court order. This one, in regards to Miguna. Remember, immediately William Ruto came into office, the first thing he did was to facilitate the return of Miguna into the country. So Miguna will pursue this matter to its logical conclusion with a strategy of trying to frustrate Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Of course, there is also the issue of judicial killings. The River Yala scandals is awaiting Matiang'i, and of course, he's going to be tied to the police brutality against, was it NASA or Azimio supporters? Against NASA supporters when he was the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. In fact, there are majority of Luos who are saying for them they can't support Fred Okengo Matiang'i based on how he mistreated the Luos when he had power. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into other details, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. What we do on this channel is that we analyze politics in a way you can't find in any place. So the best thing you can do is to subscribe now. And I want to also apologize. I intended to do a video earlier in the day, but one of my teeth was extracted today. So those who've undergone that process, you know how it feels. And most of you can even see from my face. Hopefully we'll wake up much better. Ladies and gentlemen, why would William Ruto, through his government, plan to prefer 14 criminal charges against Fred Okengo Matiang'i? And I can assure you, out of the 14 criminal charges, 1, 2, or 3 will go through. And if any of them will go through, Matiang'i will not be able to contest for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. And of course, you can't also rule out the possibility that William Ruto and his government are just playing politics. For me, let me try and explain to you guys why I think Ruto is trying to finish Matiang'i ahead of 2027. Number one, they want to try and destroy the credibility of Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Most Kenya view Matiang'i as someone who has the ability to deliver.
You know what has happened with this election, and I said it in another meeting, that after the COVID-19 pandemic, now the new pandemic we are dealing with is the pandemic of lies. Yeah. It's the pandemic of lies. You know, people stand up and they say things that they think make sense. You know, I've been looking at politicians, and fortunately, I have the opportunity of having served in cabinet. I know how a budget is drawn, and I know how much money we have in our resources to draw a budget. When a political leader, a national leader tells people, I will put aside 150 billion for market women. I'll put aside 50 billion for boda boda. I'll put aside 100 billion for this. I know how much our budget is and the projected growth of our budget. That time you have not talked about the amount of money that you are taking to counties. You have not talked about transfers for the education sector and so on. Where are you going to get that money to provide that kind of service? You're just lying to those people because you are telling them things they want to hear.
Majority of Gen Zs were hoping for Matiang'i's candidature so that they can support him. And there's a general consensus that Matiang'i can easily become a compromise candidate for the combined opposition. Granted, he also comes from one of the minority tribes in Kenya, which means with the support of the bigger tribes, Matiang'i can easily become the president of the Republic of Kenya. He was having an advantage, or he has one advantage: credibility. Matiang'i is one of the most credible candidates in 2027. And because of that credibility, William Ruto and his team wants to destroy him. Remember, apart from Matiang'i, we have Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka, most people view him as someone who's been in the system for a very long time. There's nothing tangible development which can be attributed to Kalonzo Musyoka. Of course, there is also the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. But I'm not so sure whether Rigathi will be able to contest, considering the court cases and the impeachment. Who else will be running? And that can explain why there's also the push to have David Maraga to contest.
It's horrific how we have mismanaged ourselves. And I will say this again, I am not going to be necessarily popular on this point, but I hold this to be true and to be factual. We are one of the few countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and actually probably in the world, that has got no problems with the resources to invest in education. Our problem is not money. Our problem is mediocrity, corruption, incompetence, and theft. That is our problem.
If you are to compare Maraga and Matiang'i, at least for Matiang'i, you can find that Roreka land scandal. For Maraga, what can you find? Zero. So in terms of credibility, there's David Maraga, then there is Matiang'i. And because someone is out to destroy his credibility, they want to press those charges. If won't succeed, another more credible candidate from the Kisii is going to be propped up. So that's number one. Number two, I think there is a clear strategy to try and scare Fred Matiang'i from running in 2027. Someone is out to instill fear in Matiang'i. There's a time police raided Matiang'i's home. What happened? Matiang'i chickened out. He appeared as a coward. Matiang'i then entered into some deal with the government. Before we knew, Matiang'i had left the country. And because currently his candidature is receiving a lot of positive reviews from Kenyans, that is scaring Kenya Kwanza. It's scaring William Ruto. So they have to stop him. They have to scare him that you come, we're waiting for you, but these are the charges which are waiting for you. So Matiang'i will come, he will start dealing with those cases. Some of them, he will be in court, he will be arrested. He can chicken out. And that's exactly what they want. Because Matiang'i had exhibited that character of a coward. That cannot be said of, for example, Rigathi Gachagua. You can't scare Rigathi Gachagua with arrest, with court cases. Because he will change them to his advantage. Someone is out to scare Fred Matiang'i. Number 3, William Ruto is banking on Western Alliance for his presidency. In fact, William Ruto will begin his tour of Mount Kenya on Saturday. On that Saturday, will determine whether William Ruto will continue pursuing the mountain or not. But I think there is no way William Ruto will pursue Mount Kenya because Mount Kenya is out of his basket. So he's banking on Western Alliance. Which means if Matiang'i were to run, automatically Matiang'i will consolidate the entire Gusii region. In fact, the entire Gusii region is already off the radar for William Ruto. Then with Matiang'i, even those in ODM party will finally join Matiang'i. Then, because William Ruto is not really being felt, even in Luo Nyanza, Matiang'i will go with a huge chunk from the Luo Nyanza. Then the Luo nation, they will also go with a good chunk of the Luo votes. And that's how William Ruto will be defeated. You remove the Western Alliance from Ruto, it's done. Because the mountain of Northeastern, Kalonzo, Ukambani off. So it's banking on the Western Alliance. If Western Alliance will be split, done, and dusted. And that's what William Ruto doesn't want. So they're going to frustrate Fred Matiang'i. I'm looking at it from that. But there's another angle. There's another angle. What if this idea of frustrating Fred Matiang'i is to make him popular, make him defensive, make him see the need of running for the presidency with the sole intention of dividing the opposition. A united opposition is too dangerous to face William Ruto. That is the fact. William Ruto would rather face a divided opposition the way Moi did. Because a divided opposition, at least there's going to be Matiang'i with his Western Alliance, there's going to be Rigathi Kalonzo with the other side, Ruto. Then at the end of the day, we are going to have 50% plus 1 determining. And because none of them will be able to win, then William Ruto, as the sitting president, will have an advantage in negotiating with the losing side, with the number 3. Because William Ruto, I'm sure, the NIS probably has briefed him that there is no way he can win. But I'm also looking at it as William Ruto's strategy of trying to scare Uhuru Kenyatta from supporting Matiang'i. If there's one man who is giving William Ruto serious political headache, then it is Uhuru Kenyatta. Why? Uhuru Kenyatta supporting Matiang'i will mean Matiang'i will access funds. Uhuru's pocket is deep. He can fund a presidential campaign easily. Uhuru Kenyatta, as a former president, has international networks, which if he's serious, he can help tap for Matiang'i. Uhuru Kenyatta, as a former president, knows who is who can help in the campaigns. He can activate his TNA and Jubilee networks. The truth is, in 2022, Uhuru Kenyatta did not support Raila Odinga or his team sabotaged them. Because Uhuru Kenyatta, as a former president, even had serious deep state. He had intelligence access, everything. Still, he has those access. And Uhuru Kenyatta supporting Matiang'i would mean he can easily negotiate with other leaders, say Wamalwa to support Matiang'i, maybe Natembea to support Matiang'i, maybe Kalonzo to support Matiang'i. He can be the unifying factor in that camp. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude this video by asking you this simple question. Do you think charging Fred Matiang'i with 14 criminal charges will stop him from running for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya in 2027? Let me know in the comment section. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.